I used to be here. I studied here many years ago. The first black vice chancellor installed in, I think, 2002.
Yes, Prof. Nong.
Prof. Nonga. From my observation from there, we started to see this institution, VETS, starting to have African names in the buildings.
Yes.
Solomon Mahlangu, Robert Sebukwe, and many others. What are your thoughts on that? Are we just color dressing reform, or is it a slight shift towards the African thinking? What are your thoughts in that? Is that a change of substance, or is just to say we've ticked our boxes to say we can be counted amongst those who are pro transformation? What are your thoughts on the institution's move towards naming some of the buildings and honoring some of our heroes?
Yeah. Well, with that, it's a political approach, if you ask me, because even with the naming of these institutions, if we track it back to the early 2000s when Professor Kada Asmal was the Minister of Education in this country, um, he combined, universities with technicons and colleges.
Yes.
For instance, what is now UJ, it used to be Rao
Vets
University
Technical.
and Vets Technicon, and it's now the University of Johannesburg. But with that, it was a political, educational approach to say there must be a balance in terms of institutions that used to gravitate to more towards superiority in terms of
Their offerings.
their offerings, getting a
Yes.
bachelor. If you got a bachelor's degree from the University of Port Elizabeth, the University of Transkei,
University of Venda.
And so on,
Yes.
you were someone that was taken very, very, very
Lightly and not taken seriously.
yeah.
Yes.
So if you got, however, a university degree from Wits University, from Rao, even back then,
Yes.
you were someone that they took seriously. So the idea was that the ministry back then was trying to balance out and also was trying to phase out, like teaching colleges that were formed in the Bantustans, as well as nursing colleges, and also infuse them into these new universities. And they added a part that said University of Technology in certain spaces like Cape Peninsula, Tshwane,
Yes.
University of Technology,
Yes.
DUT, and so on.
Yes.
It actually elevated them according
Their
to the
status.
state. But in terms of renaming them, it was again through the political lens. It's just a name, unless you are willing to, redress the entire institution completely as to addressing the issue of a colonial space that for a long time has been functioning as a colonial space through mass labor that is buried underneath these buildings. The workers that used to construct some of these universities are buried beneath it. The walls of the institutions are hollow with these harrowing and cold cries of people that were Africans that were not necessarily graduates of these universities. They were not teaching in these universities. They were laborers. So you'd find that some of the land that was used to construct these universities, University of Cape Town, for instance, is built. There's a part of it that is built on top of graves, of a certain royal family within
Yes.
the Khoi and the San people that were from there. So that alone does not change, the atrocity and the history behind, or beneath the atrocity. It
Yes.
merely just says we just changed the name. There is nothing, transferable in terms of healing,
Yes.
spiritual
And
healing.
redesigning
And
the spaces,
redesigning the spaces.
to welcome Africans
Exactly.
of all, because we are the majority of the people who are also utilizing the spaces, but we feel like we have to conform.
Exactly.
We have to re-cleanse ourselves of our African and Africanness. So
Exactly.
to put on the suit so that we feel like we belong.
Exactly. So it's to me it's a good gesture by those that are advocating for change, but changing Central Block to Solomon Mahlangu, sorry to Robert
Okay,
Sobukwe,
yes.
Senate House to Solomon
Mahlangu, yes.
Mahlangu, and other spaces is a futile exercise because it's merely putting an image of a political figure that fought against apartheid, but the space itself does not speak about or does not speak into a liberated space or a space that resonates the spirit of this person. You see, so if we are to go back to history, Robert Sobukwe was a stalwart of the anti-apartheid movement, founder of the
Yes.
PAC. So a building that is just named after him, and when you enter as a spiritually inclined person, it's just a change in the name. It still resonates the harsh, sadistic spirits of the colonial regime. And that speaks to the mind of our leaders that they are more concerned about changing
Aesthetics and
aesthetics only
cosmetics,
and cosmetics, and
yes.
it's all about it's theatrics. It's an act that is just meant to lull our minds and our spirits into not actually addressing the issues. Unless then you are speaking about newer buildings that were constructed at Wits, for instance, Umthombo or Putliso Lobuntu, which is one of the
Yes,
buildings
yes. I
that
think I studied psychology
yes, that's
then.
one of the buildings that
Yes,
Professor Nongla, that's one of
yes,
his projects. And
yes.
that again, it's partly leaning towards the direction of decolonizing the institution. But again, the space of the institution itself did not receive any form of African cleansing for African acceptance.
And the
Um,
African designs were not properly
were not
utilized.
properly utilized.
African architecture
Yeah,
and all of those, so that when you enter, you feel like
you are
you are
welcome. You're at
welcome.
home. You
Yeah, as
feel
an African.
lighter. For instance, if you look at what the government of 1994 converted from prisons to heritage
Size,
sites, right?
yes,
So your Robben Island, your number 4 prison, which is now known as the Constitutional Hill.
yes,
If you attend any event there, you you will not you will not function properly,
yes,
mentally, spiritually, emotionally as well,
yes.
because it was just they did not redesign it. They
No,
just gave it a boundary and said this is a
yes,
heritage site, and then they
yes.
put a court in that. So the government did not know or did not participate in a path of cleansing the
The space,
space
yes,
and
yes.
retribution.
You can feel the spirits of
You
those who were
yes,
hanged
you were hanged there. You
in
can
that space,
exactly.
and funny enough, I was in 2002. There was a consultation that we had, where to add an input of how that space must be designed.
Yeah, yeah,
But the end product of it's more like a tourist
yeah,
destination now.
yeah.
It's got nothing African. You go into those gallows, into those hallways, you
Mm.
can feel the spirits of the
Yeah,
people who were
exactly.
hanged. You can see the pictures. You don't feel like it's something to. You don't feel like there's an effort to salute
Yes,
those who gave
yes,
up their lives. It's just
yes.
an archive space
Mm.
that has not been in the African way
Exactly,
been attended to. The
exactly,
cleansing and the lifting of the spirits, so that whenever we visit, we can be welcomed there as well.
exactly. But now, when we leave those spaces after whatever event that was there, you leave traumatized. You leave. Having caught on into, as I said, the heroin cries, the bloodshed on the wall, their spirits are clinging on to you because they can see that you see what has happened and what has not been corrected. You see, so perhaps one can show a bit of empathy to the government and say they were more focused on the political as well as
Agenda, yes.
the economic agenda. They were not concerned about redressing what has been erased by history in the context of a pre-colonial, colonial, post-colonial, apartheid, post-apartheid South Africa. So it same as institutions of higher learning, you feel how chilly it is. It chills down your spine.
Yes, yes.
My friends and I the other day were actually laughing about the fact that it doesn't matter whether you are a student, whether you are teaching, whether you are a senior researcher. There's some connection between academics and liquor, whereby
Yes.
the consumption of liquor is at a high level at institutions of higher learning.
Yes, because these are cold
These
spaces.
are cold spaces. These are
Yes.
spaces that
Empty walls and,
you feel that
hallways and
the
passages.
passages they are all contaminated with the heroes of the past. And again, there was no proper cleansing that was done or trauma debriefing in post 1994. So people were now basically told that you have to navigate your way into these spaces. So for young Africans that are entering in these spaces, that is one of their challenges, that they are not frustrated by the coursework or the research. They are frustrated by the space that is very anti-African in terms of the spirit of the space. We may have black vice chancellors,
Yes.
but that means
We
nothing.
have names of our politicians
On buildings
and heroes
and so on.
Yes.
We may have statues of Nelson Mandela, as many as we want in this country, but Mandela is not a cleansing of the past. Mandela is a symbol of the fact that apartheid has now come to an end and we're now in a democratic society.
and
That's
having
it.
tea together.
And that's it. And that's where it ends. The rest is up to everyone to correct, because funny enough, these people that we're talking about, the anti-apartheid stalwarts, they are now ancestors, and when they passed on, I can only imagine that they could not be fully integrated within the space of ancestry, because
Yes.
in the times of them,
It's almost like they needed cleansing before they passed.
they are needed they need cleansing on their own
On their
before
own,
they are
yes.
part
Yes.
they step into the ancestral realm,
Them,
whereby
yes.
they are fully accepted, because they were given
Yes.
a chance that
To make serious contribution.
make things right. It's not just changing the name of the street. It's not just changing the name of a building. It's not just, they can change the name of the country itself, but it
Yes.
won't erase, it won't cleanse, it won't heal, the atrocities of the past completely in terms of spirituality. We are not even healed politically. We are not even healed economically. We are not even healed socially.
Yes.
We're
not allowed to heal spiritually.
Exactly. We're not healed as a country. So we may change, from
the aesthetics,
yes,
the cosmetics,
the
and
cosmetics of it even change.
The pictures,
You can have as many political parties as you want, and each political party, by the way, does not speak to African spirituality. None. I'm talking about those that are formed by blacks. They are not inclusive of or including African spirituality, because this is the one, a space whereby it questions it's not that to question the politics, because politics were not part of the African way. It speaks of just addressing the issues that were oppressed, the issues that were erased, stolen, the atrocity, the bloodshed.
Yes.
And
to acknowledge those who gave their lives.
Who gave their lives.
To say, we see you.
Exactly.
We know you are still there, because as Africans, we don't believe in death.
Exactly.
Life continues.